Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, everyone. First of all, congratulations to all of you for being part of your ITM as a postgraduate student. Some of you enrolled as master student and others as PhD student. Congratulations. So what I'm going to share with you all today is writing a research proposal. Okay, this is actually it's a common topic to me because I'm coming from Accounting Research Institute. Our focus, of course, in producing PhD and master students. So preparing a good research proposal is something common in our institute, but having to teach you all research proposal writing using video is a bit challenging. This is my first video on research proposal. Hopefully, it's going to be useful. Okay, basically the presentation outline I'm going to start with what is actually academic proposal. Then what is the content of research proposal? Content. Then after that we go to common mistake in writing research PhD and master research proposal, challenges in writing good research proposal, and some sample. Maybe sample of the research proposal I will embed it into the each content of the proposal. So what is actually academic research proposal? Academic research proposal can be uh, uh, is actually an overall plan, is a scheme or structure or strategy designed to obtain answer to the research question, research issue, research problem that actually constitute into your research project that you have been chosen. So basically, good research proposal should have a good idea. And of course, how to get a good idea, you have to read a lot. Not only to read a lot, because readers or examiners will not know how much you read until you convert what you have read into the writing. So writing is crucial into preparing a research proposal. Okay, basically, why do we prepare a research proposal? Research proposal is a guideline of what you will do and how will you do it. Okay, so with a good research proposal, you are able to finish your master or PhD on time. So we call it GOT, graduate on time. And actually, proposal is a backbone of the research. Imagine people without backbone. So same goes to master or PhD thesis without proposal. So often the structure of the proposal is identical, be it for master level or PhD level. The content of the research proposal are almost identical. So some says like research proposal is a construction plan. No contractor can produce or build up a building without preparing the plan first. Same goes to like proposal. Some driver will say like research proposal is like waste. So without waste, they cannot move to the right destination. Okay, what are the criteria of a postgraduate research proposal? The common one is actually number one, and I believe if you attend any class, they will see like contribution is the most important part in the research proposal. Of course, you have to have contribution. Okay, so what is contribution? Later we go on when we move on into the content of the research proposal, and it must be original. For PhD and master research proposal, it must be original. What do I mean by original? Original meaning there is involvement of data collection. You can collect data while interview if you are doing qualitative, or you can collect data using questionnaire distribution, or you may just get the data from secondary data source, annual report, or any public report. And you make sure that the contribution and the originality of your proposal will last until you submit your uh, thesis or after your viva, because that is the first question they ask, whether your proposal is original or whether you have contribution in the study. Okay, so In writing a research proposal, this is the main question you need to answer. What, why, where, when, and how. Okay. What is it you want to study? What do you want to research actually? So this can be reflected in the title of the research and also from your preliminary work. Okay. What is the area you want to study? You want to study on corporate social responsibility, or you want to study on COVID? What do you want to study? You want to study on fraud? You want to study on economic growth? So what? Okay. So the next thing is why? Why you want to study on CSR? What is so significant about CSR? Why you want to study about fraud? What is the problem with having fraud? Why you want to study about COVID? Why? Okay. Why you want to study about, like example I gave you just now is why do you want to study about economic growth? What is so important about studying economic growth? Okay. The next, where is your sample? So when you want to study about CSR, whose CSR you want to study? Is it company CSR? Is it NGOs CSR? Okay, that is the population. You want to study about economic growth. Whose economic growth you want to study? Is it Malaysia? Is it ASEAN country? Or is it OIC country? Is it developed countries? So that is where the sample. When? When is the study to be conducted? Maybe those who are doing record or report as data collection, the duration may be long. For example, you want to say that study cover period from 1980 until 2020 because data are available online. Okay, for example. But some studies that is going to be like qualitative when they interview, where is maybe during your semester 4 of your uh, PhD, or maybe semester 2 or 3 if you are doing research. Okay, how are you going to collect the data? Or you say you want to collect data using interview or from the database, you go to the library, there is data stream, you can extract the data. So how are you going to collect the data? So your research proposal must cover all these 5 questions, right? So how to start, where and how to start. Okay, first you have to have some ideas. At this point, I'm very sure some of you knows what you plan to do, or even some of you may have your solid title. So those who have not, you have to have some general idea at least on the area you plan to do if you don't have topic yet. So which area you want to do? How do you get this idea? You may get it from your own experience. You went to bank or you went to a government service department, you notice that the service are not very good. So it's from your experience. So you want to study about the effectiveness or the of service delivery among the public or agencies, for example. It's from experience. Or maybe from talking to others. Or maybe if you attend a conference, you talk to the people. So what should be the new in the most hot topic currently and going to be still relevant for the next 3 to 4 5 years, maybe talk to people. At this point, those who have not idea, who doesn't have idea yet on the topic or the area of thesis, please start talking to people, start talking to your supervisors, okay? Your supervisors, friends, and anyone. Okay. Then of course, when you enroll yourself as PhD master student, the thing that you need to do is a lot of reading. Reading is a must. There is no option of getting PhD or master without reading. Okay. Okay, but reading alone is not enough actually, because student will say, I read this article, I read many books, I read. But what you have read, you must convert that into writing, because then only we can prove that you have read. Okay. So you have to refine your idea, because I believe for a start you're going to have a broad area, so you have to narrow, you have to refine the idea. This one you have to sit down with supervisors a lot. on how to actually refine or limit or narrow the scope of your area so that you are able to finish within 2 years for master, 2 years for master full time or 3 years for PhD if you are doing full time. Then when you do your reading, make sure you identify the gap. The gap is the contribution of the study. So you look at how other study have been doing. So what different your study and study. That is the gap. When you are able to say that my study is unique because the other study is not doing this, the other study is focusing on that, whereas my study is focusing on this. So that is actually what we call gap. So you try to fill the gap. The gap can be in terms of sample, the gap can be in terms of methodology, the gap can be in terms of data analysis. Okay, it can be in any part, and maybe the gap can be in terms of measurement. Because, for example, study on CSR, all this while people are actually focusing on data collection using secondary data, whereas your study on CSR using qualitative, meaning you interview. So there is gap. Okay. So again, reading is a must. I believe in every slide I will say reading and writing. That is the keyword for master and PhD. Okay, this is where we are going to start the proposal content, because if you are doing master, or in fact if you are doing PhD, you have to present your proposal during the 9th month of your registration, or in other words during the second semester of your registration. So basically this is what you are supposed to present or to the postgraduate office. That number one is the title. I put it there, working title, because some of you still not sure, keep changing the title, so we can use the word working title. After that, you have to have introduction, then move on to problem statement, research objective, research question and hypothesis if you have any. Be careful, some methodology, like if you're doing qualitative, there is no hypothesis needed. Next one is review of research literature or literature review. Number 7 is methodology, and of course the rest is just time frame. That's why I said proposal will actually tell whether you are able to finish your master or PhD on time, because in the proposal, in that section number 8, when you have your time frame, you are going to state which semester you are going to do what. For example, semester 1 is developing maybe conceptual framework. So up to semester 1, you have to finish the whole conceptual framework in semester 2, and also the instrument or the methodology. Maybe in semester 3, you start data. This one I'm talking about PhD, for example. In semester 3, you start design the data collection method. In semester 4, maybe you will see that you are going to do the data collection. Semester 5 is data analysis. And in semester 6, you have to finalize the whole chapter. Okay. So basically, when you finish writing your research proposal for PhD, in a way you have completed your chapter 1, 2, and 3 of your whole thesis. Chapter 1 in the thesis is introduction. Chapter 2 normally literature review. Chapter 3 is actually methodology. So basically, when you pass your DRT, you are ready with the whole 3 chapter, 1, 2, and 3. Okay, what should be the title of your PhD or master? So, title is, by now if you have title, then there shouldn't be a problem. But what I want to say, the most common question students will ask me, like, how long should be a question? My answer is as simple as, I want short, precise, but informative objective. That's title. So the title normally should contain cause, effect, sample. Okay, cause, effect, sample. Okay, cause is the independent variable for those who are doing quantitative. Effect is the dependent variable, and sample is the sample of your study. Okay, so you need to choose a topic which can be investigated through appropriate valid method. It can be qualitative, it can be quantitative, it can be primary, and it can be secondary data. Okay. I will do this one first. Okay, the working title. Okay, working title of your thesis should often um, will actually determine whether you are able to finish your PhD or not. Because normally, if the class is like face to face, okay, so we'll able to ask everyone. So, what is your title? What is your title? From there, we know that the students are very clear or not clear of what they plan to do. Because from the title, you know the whole thing. Okay, so sometimes the students are not able to finish the PhD because the title itself is not clear. Okay, so after this, I will show you some example of title that is clear. Question to ask to help you to achieve this: what problem does my dissertation seek to solve? Okay, what is actually your problem statement? Okay, so what is the research proof? At the end of the day, what do you want to find actually? Okay, so that should be reflected in the title. Okay, I give you example of title. This title I just take from our student who just graduated recently, but one of this title may still pending. I mean, the student is taking the Viva next month. For example, this one is examination on money laundering judgment, the influences of individual, contextual, and organizational factors on bank officers. From this, do you know what is the effect? What is the cause? What is the effect? What is the sample? The cause is individual factors, contextual factors, organizational factors. What is the effect? Money laundering risk judgment. Who are the sample? Bank officers. From this, we can automatically actually directly understand that the student is trying to examine whether um, individual factors, we do not know what is individual factors. Maybe you have to read the thesis, only you know. Maybe individual factors can be your experience, your qualification, your age, can be anything. By reading the thesis only, you should be able to detect what he meant by individual factors. Contextual factors. Contextual factors meaning, again, we do not know, but we need to go in deeper into the thesis, then only we know. And organizational factors. There are many organizational factors, maybe the leadership, maybe the culture, maybe the structure. So we do not know. But from the title, we know these are the three things that the students intend to examine. Individual factors, contextual factors, organizational factors on ability of these people, bank officers, to make a good judgment of money laundering risk. Okay. Okay, number 2. Assessing integrity violations in Malaysian government department, the organizational for triangle perspective. What is the cause? What is the effect? What is the sample? The sample is very clear. Malaysian government department. So what are the cause in effect? The cause are integrity violation. Sorry, the effect is integrity violation. So the student, coincidentally, this is my student, so I know. The organizational triangle perspective says there are three factors contribute to organizational fraud. The three factors are culture, leadership, and control. So in a way, the students shorten the title instead of saying that they're assessing in control, culture, and leadership on integrity violation in Malaysia. So he he hides the three factors and he said the organizational fraud triangle perspective. Okay, so in this title is very clear. There is cause, there is effect, there is sample. Okay, next one. Corporate governance mechanism and corporate risk management disclosure. Evidence from listed companies in Iran. We know that the student is actually trying to examine whether corporate governance mechanism, there's hundreds of corporate governance mechanism, I believe, a lot. But we do not know what actually element of corporate governance mechanism this student is going to focus. Maybe ownership structure, maybe audit committee, maybe board structure. We do not know. You have to read the thesis only, but from the title, it is clear. The student is actually just focusing on corporate governance mechanism and what is the effect of this on corporate risk management of the company. And he's looking into companies in Iran, right? It's very clear. The next one is factors influencing economic growth of IC country. See factors. Maybe in this thesis they have 10 factors. Maybe what actually contribute to economic growth of a country. Maybe um, human resource, maybe political stability, socio-economic factor. There are many hundreds factors. We do not know what factors actually this is examining. So the student is using the word factors. I hope in the thesis he mentioned that um, based on certain theory, they choose these three factors to examine whether these three factors or these six factors or these 10 factors will affect economic growth of countries. Last one is challenges influencing money laundering investigation outcomes. This one, I think Dr. Thesis written by Dr. Salwa. She just graduated last week. Congratulations, Dr. Salwa. And I think the title is very clear, except actually there is two things, not only challenges. I think effectiveness, something like and challenges. So he's looking into the challenges of money laundering investigation outcome. And of course, I think there is this in the title they have sample of uh, investigation enforcement officers. Okay, I hope you're clear on how to develop a topic for your proposal. So what should be in the introduction? Introduction provide readers with the background information of the research. So normally introduction you should start with a broad area, then narrow to your sample. Okay. For example, if you are talking about broad just now, you should go from broad problem area, you narrow it down to your country, then narrow it down to your sample. Okay. I hope I have example after this. So introduction normally for your proposal, for your proposal shouldn't be very long, 1.5 pages is good. So in the introduction, you should provide insight to the current or past problem related to your topic. Um, so why the topic is important? Why a study on fraud is important? Why study on risk management? Just now, risk management practice is important. Why study on economic growth of OIC countries is important? Okay, maybe a lot of study has been done on economic growth, but the past study missing of something that you are going to incorporate into your study. Then put this into the introduction. This will actually tell the reader there is gap in this area that warrant your study to be conducted. So in the introduction also it will refer to the development in the methodology. Maybe you actually link to the past literature. They say that past studies on this area hardly adopt secondary data or qualitative method. So again, provide as many gap as possible in terms of um, sample, in terms of theory, in terms of methodology, so that we know there is actually gap in your area that warrant more study to be conducted in this area. So again, even though in introduction you have to cite a lot to prove that there is gap. Okay, problem statement. Problem statement give a short summary of research problem that you have identified. In here I put in red because this is the most problematic area, problem statement. Student hardly, it is very difficult for students to write a good problem statement. At the end of the day, I noticed that most examiner will comment like problem statement not clear, problem statement very vague. There is no problem statement for that warrant the study to be conducted. So make sure you spend time on this. You can discuss a lot with supervisors on how to write a good problem statement. But I'm going to show you some example. I don't say that extremely good, but it's acceptable. Remember, the most important aspect of research proposal is clarity of the research problem. That's why I said I put it in red. Clarity of research problem, and not many students are able to write a clear problem statement. So what is a problem statement? Problem might be defined as the issues that exist in the literature, in theory, or in practice that warrant the study to be conducted. Okay, as simple as that. Okay. Mm, this is incomplete problem statement by my student. Actually, at first she planned to do or bank focus on banking fraud in Indonesia. Along the way, she changed the topic because of the demand from the sponsor. So, but uh, when she started the problem statement, she gathered all the information. This is among the latest, so that I just put it into the slide to share with you all. So when she's doing on banking fraud, she start collecting. Is it true banking fraud exists? So when she collected the data from newspaper cutting, from audit report, from uh, established newspaper, our main media or newspaper. So what happened? These are among the information she managed to collect on banking fraud. So they say that banking sector is important for the economic growth of a country. I would prefer if you can mention how important is the banking sector, the contribution of banking sector to your country. For example, if you are doing in Malaysia, banking sector contribute 20% of GDP, provide 10% of job opportunity, uh, to show that banking sector is actually significant to the contribution to the country that warrant more your study to be conducted. Sound banking industry is the foundation to attract investors and country stability. Recently, numerous charges of fraud in banking sector have made headline. For example, in US, welfare go 1 billion in banking fraud. In India also, another mismanagement of my fund of 1.8 billion. In French, okay, French is not exception. So 3.7 billion pound missing because of fraud. In Malaysia, bank losses amounting 185 million USD from 2008 to 2013. In Indonesia, it happened in many places in the world. It happened. So this she wants to say that banking fraud is common not only in US, not only in Japan, not only in India, not only in French, but also in Indonesia. That shows that wow, this is a big issue. Study need to be done on this. Okay, so at this point, I think the weaknesses of this proposal is when she failed to explain what make her choose two element here: good governance practices and risk management. Uh, in this study, she want to focus on three items: good governance practice, risk management practice, and internal control system. To her, these three factors will contribute to will be able to mitigate banking fraud. But the justification of these three variables need to be explained from the lens of a theory. That will make the problem statement stronger. Okay. So this is Afzal's thesis. I just cut and paste how she prepare a problem statement. Please pray for Afzal. He's going to sit for his Viva in June. He's very good student. Within I think 4 years. It took 4 years to complete his and to submit his thesis. And within that 4 years, she produced almost 10 Scopus article. Okay, Scopus Index article, and recently one of his article accepted in Q2 without guidance from me as supervisor. He's very independent student. So this is, I don't say this is extremely good, but it is a sample of problem statement you may follow. Actually, just now the title of Afzal is on integrity violation among public Malaysian government. So I just read a bit. Okay, the increasing trend. He started with integrity violation, the dependent variable, the main issue of his study. The increasing trend of integrity violation in Malaysian government department is becoming a matter of great concern that could have an impact to the country's image, reduce investors' confidence, and increase the cost of service provision. So Henry, I think he mentioned a few authors who argue on this. Integrity violation present a significant risk to organization, and tackling them increases the organization resilience to show. Okay, in the second paragraph, she want to further strengthen why integrity violation is why study on integrity violation is important, and he's supported with past study who says that studies on integrity violation is important. Then he start actually mentioning about integrity violation in the developed country, start from Enron, WorldCom, Tyco, and after a while, where is it? In the last paragraph, however, the existing literature on integrity violation mostly focus on developed economies. So argue that study on integrity violation focusing on US, then UK, then Netherlands, then so the last sentence of his first paragraph, this warrant more studies to be conducted in the context of developing country. Why? Because in developing countries, the fraud is as bad as other countries. Okay, so these are example of statement of problem. Normally statement of problem, this one is incomplete problem statement. I think he prepared about 3 to 4 pages problem statement for his final thesis, but for your proposal, maybe if you can write the most 1 page, try to summarize everything, uh, try to summarize the problem statement in 1 page. Make sure in the problem statement it covers all the independent variable, the main issue of the study, the dependent variable, and also what are the lacking of past studies in this area that warrant your study to be conducted. So what is research objective? Research next after problem statement, you have research objective. Okay, number 4. So research objective give a concise and clear research objective that you want to achieve through your research. If the objective is not clear, so of course, if you yourself cannot actually cannot understand your objective clearly, I believe the reader will feel the same thing. So this is Afzal. Again, I just stick to one thesis as an example. So Afzal just now he's doing on integrity violation in the public sector just now. So I just cut and paste from part of his objective. According to organizational fraud triangle theory, the 3 core elements of ethical leadership, internal control system, and ethical culture may influence integrity violation. So in line with this theory, this study aims to Number one, examine the relationship between ethical leadership, internal control system, ethical culture, and integrity climate and integrity relation. So this study they have four independent variable, four costs. Independent variable is called cost. What cause integrity violation? According to this theory, what cause integrity violation? There are three: ethical leadership, internal control system, ethical culture. But Afzal add new thing into the theory that is integrity climate. Okay, and so that's why there are four independent variable in that first sentence. Objective number two, to examine the relationship between ethical leadership, internal control system, and ethical culture on integrity climate, because that is the new element that he introduced into the theory. Last, to examine whether integrity climate mediate the relationship between internal leadership, internal control system, and ethical culture. So look at the wording that he used, to examine, because when it comes to objective, there must be a words to examine, to determine, okay? But those who are doing qualitative, for example, to explore. So those words should be used to develop research objective. Okay, so research question, I stick to the same sample prepared by, I extract from my student's thesis, Afzal. Again, I would appreciate Afzal for this, for allowing me to share his objective. Hopefully benefit you all, and please pray for Afzal also. Again, so this study, okay, now I want from that research objective just now, actually this is the research question. The study objective is to examine the relationship between the three elements just now on integrity violation. So what is the research question? Research question, they just put the question mark. Does culture, ethical leadership, internal control system, internal culture, ethical culture, and integrity climate influence integrity violation? Okay, so there is question mark. So in a way, you can actually match research question and research objective. Basically, in general, I would say, if you have three research questions, you should have three research objectives. So always match or map your research question and research objective. So from there, from Afzal's one, I try to develop a simple hypothesis. But of course, the real study is much detailed than this. This is why I try to summarize. In fact, Afzal's integrity violation can be divided into three: mild integrity violation, mild, then moderate, then strong integrity violation. But this one I just use the final, I mean the I just extract one that is integrity violation. I sum up all the three into one. So in his hypothesis, number one, he said that there is negative relationship between ethical leadership and integrity violation. Some will say like there is significant negative relationship. That one even better, I think. So the same goes to hypothesis 2, then hypothesis 3. In his case, his relationship is negative because the dependent variable is a negative connotation. Integrity violation, something is not good. But if it is performance, for example, it should be in a positive connotation. For example, um, I replace the integrity violation dengan organizational performance. Okay, so when I replace integrity violation with organizational performance, so I will change the hypothesis into positive statement. There is a positive relationship. There is significant positive relationship between ethical culture and organizational performance. Okay, so your hypothesis can be negative, can be positive, depending on the theory, depending on the past literature. Okay. Hopefully it's clear now. Hypothesis. I'm moving on to literature review. So what is a literature review? Literature review is a discussion of your knowledge about the topic that is supported by the past studies. Okay, past studies. The common mistake I noticed from examining thesis, master or PhD, chapter 2 is literature review. The student will start, okay, some student, it's not all, some thesis I noticed, they will explain about the setting of the study. For example, there is one study that is on Ministry of Defense. So in chapter 2 literature review, the student tend to write a lot about Ministry of Defense, the history, the evolution, the development, the success story. That is not literature review, okay? So be careful. The word literature review meaning past studies. You have to review past studies. Okay. So what is the literature review is not? Literature review is not a study by study or article by article description of studies previously done. It is not a restatement of studies previously done. It is not a brief overview of article. You notice or not, some students actually, when I read thesis, I noticed that their chapter 2 is very simple. So maybe they read 20 articles. So Ahmad 2010, uh, assuming the student is doing on say same topic like Afghal. Ahmad 2010 study about at integrity violation among bankers in Iran. Okay. They study, they collect data using questionnaire survey. They managed to get 300 questionnaires back. From the analysis, they discover that integrity violation in Iran is very common or whatever finding. They just describe the article. Okay, that is one paragraph. Paragraph 2, they describe another article. The same goes to paragraph 3 and 4. That is like a study by article by article. That is not literature review. Okay. So good literature review should outline the important research trends. So you look at the trend. So you're studying about, again, integrity violation. You can say, oh, study on integrity violation the first study started in, I don't know, say 1950. In 1950, most of studies on integrity violation focusing on uh, banking sectors in US. Starting 1980, maybe more studies start to be conducted in other European countries. Recently, starting 2000, maybe early 2000, more studies on fraud integrity violations started to appear in uh, started to be conducted in developing countries. However, studies on integrity violation in Malaysia started to appear in 2000. The first group of researchers on integrity violation tend to use a qualitative approach in data collection, whereby they conduct interview among fraudsters or government enforcement officer. Of recently, starting 2010 to 2020, we noticed that uh, study on integrity violation started to move the methodology. Instead of using qualitative, they start doing uh, data collection using questionnaire. For example, so you collect the literature review, you summarize it, you understand the trend, the classify it according to year, or classified in terms of methodology, or classifying it in terms of analysis of data, or classifying it in terms of sample. Okay, then it makes your literature review more meaningful rather than actually you describe article by article. So assessing the strength and weaknesses of existing research. Maybe just now when you say that the first group of study on integrity violations start looking into using qualitative approach. So you just mentioned, using qualitative approach, the problem they cannot collect enough respondents to make a generalization of the finding. For example, in the first few study by A, B, C, D, they only interview 10 fraudsters. So the finding cannot be generalized to the whole population of government agencies, for example. So, however, when the second batch of or second group of scholars start to shift the methodology from the qualitative to quantitative, they are able to get more respondents. For example, C, D, E, F uh, managed to collect, say, high percentage of response rates, 80%, where the finding can be generalized to the whole population of enforcement agencies. So you tell story about the article that you have read. Okay. So from the literature review, it becomes a story, and from that story, you actually identify the gap. Just now, when you say the gap, the first batch, they use this method. So they are lacking of something. The second batch, they use this kind of analysis, so they're lacking of something. That is the gap that you are trying to fill in. So from that, you establish a need for current and future research project. Okay. So like Afjal just now, the first paragraph, you mentioned that past studies tend to focus on US, UK, French, not many in developing country. In the second paragraph, he mentioned that a lot in developing country already recently. However, they tend to focus on private sectors. Okay, for example. Okay, critically analyzing the literature review, you have to, when you read literature review, you look at this item: method, finding, discussion, conclusion. You look at the methodology, look at the research design, look at the population, look at the measurement, procedure. That's why after this, I will show you how to prepare a literature review using table format. And I believe whichever research method class you attend, they will guide you or they will suggest you to use this format or maybe some other better format, so that from that uh, format you are able to analyze it critically. Okay, so for each literature you have to make a discussion and conclusion. Okay, so good versus poor literature review. A good literature review is a synthesis. You must make critical evaluation. You must actually understand the depth and the breadth of the literature review. And of course, the poor one is like just now, explaining article by article. Okay, now what is the format? So if you can actually prepare your or summarize your article instead of you summarize article by article, you convert whatever article you read into this table. So from here, you can actually later on summarize and synthesize past literature on your area. From there, you can easily find the gap where you should actually fill in. In your own words, summarize and synthesize the key findings relevant to your study. What do you know about the immediate area? What are the key arguments? What are the existing debate or theory, or in terms of methodology? So these are the common words that we use to summarize and synthesize. The word demonstrated, concern, compare, deal with. So this one can be used in your chapter 2 or in your literature review section. Okay, so methodology. Methodology, of course, you have to refer. Oh yeah, before I forgot that. So since you are preparing thesis for master and PhD, I have strongly encouraged you to look into a few sample of thesis or dissertation. I do, of course, your main reference article from highly reputable journal, but I really strong you to look at sample of thesis, because the way to write articles is totally different than writing a thesis. Okay, so I hope at this point of time you know how to extract sample of thesis from your ITM library database. You go to data library database. You go to ProQuest dissertation. Okay, and in fact, I strongly believe that you should go into that thesis collection, ProQuest dissertation, because I want you to make sure whatever you plan to do is not actually repeating what have been done by students in other university or in other countries. Okay. So in the methodology section, you have to explain your methodology. Are you doing qualitative or are you doing quantitative? If you are doing qualitative, these are the format of presentation, the common step of presentation. If you are doing quantitative, again, they have a certain format for you to follow. For example, are you going to use primary data or secondary data? So then there is a format. If you are doing primary data, questionnaire, for example, so what are the next steps? You have to tell them the measurement. How do you develop the measurement? How are you going to collect the data database of the respondent? What the same goes to if you are doing secondary data. How are you going to get the data stream? Which year you're going to take? So there is a format that you have to follow. Basically, in general, I can say methodology, we have two, qualitative, quantitative, or you may have mixed method. In your methodology, you have to explain, oh, this study is qualitative, or this study is quantitative, or this study is mixed method. So if you say you're doing mixed method both, which one you're going to do first? Qualitative first, then continue by quantitative, or the other way around. Okay, so that should be in your methodology section. Okay, so you have to explain the population, the sample, how do you develop the instrument, the measurement, how you collect the data, and how are you going to analyze the data. I know at this point you are not sure you are using SPS, PLS, Smart PLS, SAM, and Vivo. There are so many software at this point. At least you have some general idea on the kind of software that you are going to use. Okay, so this is an example I extract from Fazlida. Dr. Fazlida graduated last year. It's supposed to combo last month in April. Somehow we postpone our combo. So now she is attached to MSU, Management Science University, as lecturer. So he's doing on audit, and this one she summarized her research method, so easier for the examiner to extract, actually, to understand. So last but not least, you have to prepare your timetable. Timetable, actually, if you go to IPSIS website, they have the KPI timetable. Semester 1, what you have to do. Semester 2, semester 3, you follow the timetable strictly. I am very sure you are able to finish on time. Okay. Then, of course, reference and biblio. Reference is whatever you cite inside the proposal, that is your reference. Other than that, then not many students actually have the biblio in the reference, but reference is a must. Yeah, this is a common thing. Reference number one, make sure you have the recent reference. What I say recent, now it's 2020. I really want you to have at least a few 5 articles for 2019, at least 2018. Avoid having very old article. If you do, avoid having very old reference unless the reference is of a highly cited reference. For example, is theory. Theory normally very old. Other than that, past studies, don't take past study in 1967. Study by Ahmad on fraud. No, that is not very famous. So make sure study reference are recent and related. Of course, you have to have attachment. Maybe for proposal, not many students have attachment, but you can attach your questionnaire if you like, and also letter of permission, letter of consent for data collection. And these are the common mistake for PhD or master research proposal. Topic too broad. Remember topic, the 3 keyword I give you? Cause, effect, sample. Problem statement not clear. Problem, why you study on this? Okay, why you study on this? You have to start with negative. The word research problem is negative connotation. Fraud. What is the problem with fraud? Economic growth. What is the problem? Economic growth. CSR. What is the problem with CSR? Risk management practice. What is the problem of risk management practice? Okay, so you have to have clear research problem. So normally if the research problem not clear, the research objective is also not clear. So because these are linked between the title, linked to the problem, linked to the objective, and of course research objective is very much related to research question and research hypothesis. So because of the problem not clear, objective become not clear, research question not clear, it there is no critical literature review. Your literature review tend to be very describing of article by article. So inability to identify the gap. So I put that in three words, to identify gap. So you just identify the gap in terms of sample, past studies just looking at other things. So suddenly your study is so good because you only study focusing on enforcement agency. Suddenly your study is the only study focusing on NGO, on underprivileged kids, for example. You have to find the uniqueness of your study as compared to other study. So because of that, some PhD will not have a good contribution because they cannot identify the gap. And I strongly believe in any area you choose, in any topic of research you plan to do, definitely there is gap, but you are not able to put it in sentence. You know there is gap. When I ask what is so significant about a study compared to the other study, the student knows how to answer. Oh, the other study, Prof, the way they measure is mine. They know, but it's not written in the thesis. You must say it clearly. Past studies omit this. That's why you take up that incorporate into your thesis that make your thesis actually significant. Unclear research significant is this is mainly because of the problem statement not clear. Lack of theoretical framework. This is very common. No theoretical framework. This is I should actually worry about. Can you imagine? You yourself answer a question like this. I ask you, what are factors contribute to student performance? Take simple study. Assuming a student plan to study on factors contributing to students' performance. Very simple. There are 100 factors, I strongly believe. And when I have this session face to face, I will ask, they give me a lot of answers. One will say like quality of lecturer. Okay, I agree. Quality of lecturer will influence student performance. Other than that, hours of revision. Okay, I agree. The longer the hours of revision, student revision will ensure they will better perform in the exam. Other than that, classroom environment. Yes, I agree with aircon, with good facilities. Student performance maybe is going to be good. Yeah, you're going to test that. Okay. So my next question, what made you choose these three? Okay, quality of lecturers, uh, environment, infrastructure of classroom, and also the hours of study. What made you choose these three? You can't answer because you choose the course, the independent variable without theoretical support, without theoretical framework. But in the case of Hafzal just now, in another situation, we asked him, why you study on internal control, ethical culture, and also leadership? I examine ethical culture, leadership, and internal control because this study adopt organizational fraud triangle theory. According to organizational fraud triangle theory, the three components affecting integrity violation are this. So there is no other question I can pose. I cannot ask, why don't you study about the political instability? He can easily answer. I don't include that into my study because I'm focusing on organizational broad triangle theory. And that study on political whatever it can be done by other students who actually doing another or using another theoretical framework. Okay. So what I want to highlight here, when you choose a problem statement, a topic, area of study, make sure your choice of independent variable or study is supported by very strong theoretical framework so that you have actually, what do you call it? You can have justification on the choice of the uh, dependent and independent variable. So ineffective use of diagram, I think shouldn't be a problem. Okay, challenges in writing. Yeah, of course, everyone will have this problem. The only solution I will tell you is 21 days theory. I like this theory because yeah, my boss is always Prof Norma. He will keep telling people 21 days theory. Suddenly I want to test it on myself and notice it works. Okay. This theory say you have to repeat what you have been doing for 21 days at least. So every day if you can practice reading, writing, so make yourself 2 hours. Say if you are family, you are a mother with kid, your husband with kids, you are working, so you don't have time, but you make yourself 4 hours, maybe 2 hours a day from say 10 to 12 midnight. At 10 p.m. to 12 p.m. If you can promise yourself doing that for 21 days, then you will not have problem of writing because 2 hours you don't aim too high. Say make it like in 2 hours I will write half paragraph. I know it's not easy to write a half paragraph, but if you have article in front of you, for a start you just copy and paste. Okay, this article, you just translate that type back using your own words. That's the way we do it. Imagine if you can do that. So one day, one paragraph. In 1 month, how long can you write? A lot, right? So the solution is you have to read and you have to write and make it a habit. That is the only solution. Nothing else I can advise. Okay, so challenges in writing good proposal, lack of confidence. Too confident, not very. Yeah, sometimes students are very confident when they explain the title is so like wow. But deep in my heart say, wow, this title is good, but there is no way he can finish. Okay, for example, I recently, yesterday, in fact, approached by a master student. So the framework would look impressive. Master student, Master student, no, it's master by coursework, meaning they have 6 months, less than 6 months to finish the whole thing. Normally they will write 60, 70 pages because 6 months, one semester, but of course, minus the break, minus everything, they have the most is like 4 months. Okay. But the methodology is so, what do you call it, ambitious, when in which one of the variable you have to get it from annual report. Another variable you have to get it from questionnaire because that element or the measure, the variable you cannot get it from annual report. And the last one you have to interview. But the student is very confident. I say no. Even you are very confident. I know even using one method, student cannot finish within one semester. What more if you have three methods? So I think from time to time you have to talk to your supervisor, make sure it is reasonable. Don't do not be too overconfident. Of course, you need certain level of confidence for you to proceed. Uninteresting, so I don't think you will choose topic that is uninteresting. Okay, then you have technical challenges like limited reading. What else can I do? Read. My suggestion is read. Lack of training, you attend a lot of training like this. I actually prefer uh, one-to-one training because different proposal requires different methodology, different approach, so different training. So if you can sit down with your supervisors, keep showing your progress. I think you should be able to write a good proposal. And of course, the competency and unconducive research environment. There's a common problem by student. I'm doing part time. I'm a wife. What do you call it? I'm a mother. I'm a daughter with sick parents. So all these are actually environmental factor that actually prevent you from move on, but you have no choice. Once you enroll as PhD master student, you have to proceed, you have to complete it. Okay, the reason being, if you are not able to do it, so it's going to be backfire on you. Your children will say like, wow, even my mom or my dad not able to finish his master or PhD. So if I am not able to perform in my SPM, in my SPRA, my what you call it, exam, whatever exam, is going to be like, well, they will always your failure as their reason not to be able to do good job. Okay, so you must finish with whatever you have started. Okay. Okay, this is PhD journey. Of course, now you're doing in phase one, diving, looking for topic, look no theory. It's okay. Along the way, by second semester, this stage is going to be over. Then move on to surviving stage after the RP. Then you are going to do okay. Determining perseverance is important in getting your PhD. Okay, with that, I thank you very much to you all. And this is my first video on research method. And of course, as I mentioned, preparing a research proposal is the topic that's actually very close to my heart, but having to guide or to coach students prepare good research proposal using video is the real challenge to me. But nevertheless, I enjoy it. Thank you very much.